Hello, friends.
Hey,
Lala has her invisible makeup on. She'll be in a second. Oh, there she is. She's going to kill me. And so we have Anthony Esemplare with us tonight. He's
how
my
are you?
favorite New York City policeman, retired.
Thank you.
He lives on Staten Island. And people who haven't known him for a while, he had a show on regularly, but now he's got his new thing on Epic TV. And Anthony is a big time experiencer.
Yeah,
And like a lot of people out in the New York water side, out on Long Island or over on Staten Island, tons of activity going on.
yeah,
So
indeed.
Anthony has just been getting amazing stuff where he lives. Anthony, what is this Epic TV stuff? Tell us all about it.
Well, as you know, I quit about a year or so ago. I just called it quits after I couldn't take the drama anymore. And then I got bored of just boredom, just sitting home doing nothing. I said, you know what? I'm not going to do the talk show anymore. I'm just going to go out and enjoy myself and film things and have fun. And just wherever it goes, it goes. And I put it up. And a couple days later, my buddy Robert Earl White films this amazing drone in New Jersey. And then 2 mornings after that, he superimposed some gunshots over it when Trump and everybody was talking about shooting down the drones. And I'm like, this is hilarious. This is great. I literally spit my coffee out when I first seen it. I said, we got to put this up. And we did.
That thing with the tracers he put on there, it went viral. It
It did.
went everywhere.
It went insane. It went nuclear. And we did put disclaimers everywhere that it was CGI and this could be a possible real world scenario if things are left the way they are now. There's Robert. And everybody stole the video without asking permission, and it just ended up getting hundreds of millions of views. It was really, really crazy. But after that, the amount of media that contacted both Robert and I sent both our channels pretty much through the roof. Like I went from a couple hundred subscribers. I'm way out in the thousands now, thanks to the media. And
That's right.
I'm just riding the wave right now. That's all.
So just I now is the time. So some time ago, Jesse Michaels asked me to come on and be interviewed. And I went, well, and I put it off because I didn't think it'd be that big a deal. Got on there, and the thing is like 350,000 views, and I got
Incredible.
4,000 new followers on Twitter. I'm
Yeah.
going, what is the matter with these people?
You were incredible on that show, by the way.
Oh man, but
Absolutely incredible.
I saw you. Well, I worried about it till I saw the reaction, and the reaction
Brilliant.
was
You were brilliant on that show. Cool, calm, collected. You answered all the questions brilliantly. I really enjoyed it. I really
you know
enjoyed
the
it.
good best practice I've had fighting for my life in X spaces.
Yeah. Really, really crazy.
Oh
X
yeah.
X is a
Well,
wild place.
tell us what you got going on.
So, right now, Robert and I, we're working together. We manage each other's channels, and he had that amazing drone sighting first in Bridgeton, New Jersey. And you could clearly tell it's a round drone. I mean, Robert's doing this his whole life. I'm out there over 25 years looking at the sky. I know what planes look like, and helicopters and Cessnas. I know the altitude they travel at, and Robert knows just as well. So he
Robert, I used to work a half mile for 27 years. I worked a half mile from the shopping center in Princeton.
in Princeton, New Jersey. Yeah, and Robert knows his stuff just like I know, and he put his up, and it's doing very well. And I put mine up, and you get the naysayers out there that they just can't accept that this is happening. And yes, there are planes in the sky that people are misidentifying, and helicopters and things of that nature, because the everyday civilian is not a trained observer like we are. Okay, we're abreast to everything that's in the sky, right? We see it a million times a night, over and over and over. The object that flew over my house, now my house is only 85 feet tall from ground to top. The object was about 50 to 60 feet above my roof, and I'd say 13 to 15 feet in diameter. So when it flew over, I clearly saw the X and the four rotors spinning because it flew right over the street light. And it was so low that the street light, I was able to see it, but I was using my cell phone because at 6 o'clock in the morning, who's running out with all your good, you just grab whatever you have.
Right.
and I filmed it and put it up. Now I knew at that time that I knew it was a drone. But just to ease everybody's mind today, I put the flight tracker radar 24 video up for 30 minutes, showing from 6 a.m. to 6:30 that absolutely nothing flies over my house. And about 5 miles away, a helicopter flies in at the opposite direction. This object flew northwest. That helicopter comes in eastbound, the police helicopter. So no, it's not a helicopter or anything like that. And anybody who's trained observer and your ear is trained, you should know what a Cessna sounds like, a passenger jet, a Black Hawk, or any helicopter. I think our ears are well enough in tune to what those things sound like. A quadcopter with 4 rotors has a very, very odd sound to it. It almost sounds like a lawnmower flying through the sky. All right. So, and that's what it was. It was a quadcopter. And
So I put up, well, I forgot the psionics. I put up this video, and one night the sky filled with objects flying every which way, right angle turns, speeding, stopping, flying over the house, whatever. And people says, "Oh man, that's bugs."
you know what?
And of course, the psionics looks different,
Right?
But you illuminated it with IR. The psionics didn't have an IR lamp on it. I mean, so you just go, okay, I'll put stuff up. I don't care if they believe it or not. Whatever, it's whatever.
I've come to the realization now that no matter what you do and no matter what evidence we put forth, there's always going to be people out there that want to challenge it till they're blue in the face. And no matter what evidence you give them, they are still not going to believe it. So you just kick those people off to the side. Have a good day. That's really all you can do. Or you're going to drive yourself nuts.
My opinion of them and their opinion of me.
Yeah.
And, their opinion of me and their opinion of our evidence is none of my business.
Right.
I don't care about it. I don't want to know about it.
Right.
Just so they stay out of my face. What
exactly.
you want to
know? You guys keep talking because eventually I want to talk about I like watching. Well, I like everything you do, but I really like paranormal walkthroughs of the abandoned buildings and things.
Love.
I like watching.
Big passion of mine. Big passion. Big hobby.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So we got all the toys. We're gonna get into that because I mean she drives. We drive by these houses and she goes, "Ooh, that place is full of them." And then we go by these cemeteries. She says, do you see any of those things out there? And I went, no. She says, well, they got to be ghosts if you can't see them. I mean, she's just a walking, talking, paranormal, psychic experiencer, whatever. And I mean, after the bruises and the marks and abducted, or what can I say? So yeah, we want to do that too, because that's got to be fun.
Speaking of Lala, I actually, I think it was last year, you had sent me one of your videos that you had filmed Lala, and I put that up on TikTok. It's well over like 300,000 views, that video, and it was it was very well received. So again, you're gonna have people that just absolutely adore the work, and people that just want to challenge it because they don't know what we know, unfortunately, and the people that don't know what we know, they choose not to believe what we're saying. And that's just, unfortunately, it's just their problem,
We were driving back from one of her art gigs in October, and we just got into Harford County. We're headed up a country road, and then a cylinder flies across the road. And I go, is that an airplane? What is that? Oh, wait, there's no wings. There's no propulsion. So I grabbed for my camera, and as I pulled back up, it was gone.
I've had that happen. I filmed a purple Tic Tac about 2 weeks ago. It was, and it wasn't even high up. It was in the sky, but I mean, it was only a couple thousand feet up, this thing. Because when you zoomed all the way in the opsin or the psionics, it brings that image closer to you. So when people see it, they're probably assuming, oh, it was right in front of their face or 2 feet. No. It's miles out. We're just zoomed in. Anyway, Robert's seen it too. It's on the channel. This thing had to be massive because it looks like a giant purple pill just flying up into the sky. And when you further enhance it, you kind of see like a little distortion, a jet wash behind it as it's going. It's not a star or anything like that. I film a lot of shooting stars. This was a bona fide Tic Tac, and it illuminated in purple due to the IR optics. I'm assuming that's why it came in that color.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely amazing to see. Really, really beautiful.
So, what do you think? I know he's the UFO politics dude.
Yeah. We've had plenty of long conversations about that.
You have to listen to my crap 24 hours a day.
Literally. So, what do you think about all this going on? And I think it's a mixture of drones and real, because I feel that the GOV is going to gaslight us. So, but anyway, that's just my opinion. I don't know. So, what do you think?
So, speaking just about the drones right now, okay? A lot of really good theories have been put forth. That gentleman by the name of John Ferguson that actually builds the drones for the government, he made some really good claims by saying he thinks the drones are up there sniffing for radioactive material. And then we had them saying that that barge came in and a container was missing radioactive material, right? Then they tried to downplay that and say that radioactive material was only for machinery. So it's very, very low grade material. I don't buy that, because you wouldn't have these drones running grid patterns all over the place trying to sniff this thing out. So I do think that somebody got their hands on some material that did not belong to them. And I do think the government's trying to track it down quietly. Again, that brings us to the point, why aren't we being told by, our officials? Well, I think only maybe a handful or so have been read into this situation, and they're in the know, and they don't want to cause a panic. But unfortunately, by not letting the rest of the public know, it made quite the stir, right? It's caused an even bigger panic than keeping it quiet, because everybody's seen it now. So, that's what I think. Those are my thoughts. But I also think in between that, we still have our UFO orb sightings and regular UFO sightings. And there's so many more eyes in the sky right now with cameras, because they want to get a look at these drones, that when a real paranormal or UFO event happens and they catch it, they're kind of linking the two together. And they're thinking that these drones are maybe extraterrestrial vehicles, their version of our drones that they're using. So I can see the confusion with these people. But is that where you were going to go with it?
Yeah, look, what can I say? It's the thing that I saw a military whistleblower come out and be talked to tonight. And so, I says, well, I'll listen. So I listened. The more I listened, the more truth I heard.
Okay.
I could say, this guy is actually on an Air Force base. This guy is actually describing how we would deploy our assets. This guy is telling people the truth about how we store munitions, missiles, and ammo for the Gatling guns, how we store them before they go out. And he also knew that we kept 2 or more in the hot ready, fully warmed up, full of fuel, loaded for bear, ready to go in an instant while they get the others ready. Right. And then he said, we don't know what they are. We don't know why they're here. People are being told lies. And he says the pilots that come back say they can't follow them to where they go, that if they get too close and they've got protection against whatever it is that jams them up, the thing goes dark. And they can't get a radar return off of them.
Yes, I've heard this. I've heard this from our own government officials right now. And New Jersey State Police put out a memo saying the same thing. Homeland Security said the same thing. But, let me ask you a question that just completely baffles me. Homeland Security, the Border Patrol, they captured that rubber duck footage not too long ago that Andy Marcel from New York UAP discussion had put out. Now, if they were able to track a bona fide UAP, how are they not able to track a drone even in the FLIR or night vision spectrum? That's what's really confusing me, because if we had 50 of these things that just invaded Fort Earl Naval Weapons Station in New Jersey, it invaded their airspace and they shut the base down. We had Black Hawks circling Staten Island in New Jersey all weekend. I filmed it to keep the airspace secure over there. And another base just had a mishap that got shut down. I can't remember what base it was, but another one had 13 drones fly over it, and it shut down the base for like 8 hours while they got Operation Readiness going. So how are they not knowing what's going on? These are the people that are supposed to be defending the homeland. And when I hear that, it really, really frightens me.
Yeah, I, as a person who has worked on those systems, both for comment, ELINT, etc. on our assets, scaring the crap out of me. I'm a little worried, but
Well,
it
well,
really,
Bob,
because it looks like, because reconnaissance, active reconnaissance in preparation. And preparation for what? I can't
right,
tell you.
that's another thing. But someone with your background, somebody that actually built satellites, somebody that is a government contractor. How is it that we don't have? We have to have the equipment to track, right? We have to have the if we
Unless the
want
things
to
are
do it.
made out of material or they have another system that blocks our equipment.
So you think these things have jammers on them or something of that nature?
Big time.
Yeah, that's really frightening. And
Very.
again, maybe I'm wrong, but I seen the military. I put up a video where the military was practicing downing drones with those big plastic futuristic guns, right? And the drones lower really softly to the ground. How come no military official, especially if the bases were getting swarmed by so many, even a Coast Guard cutter recently had about 13, 14 around it. Why didn't they have that weapon to lower at least one
Right.
and
Because
figure out
because the weapon's not working on them. They've
it's not
tried the
working?
weapon. It doesn't work. The way
Okay.
it works is it figures out what channel it listens on. It takes over the conversation and gives it a command to come down. But this
Right.
is not a regular drone, and they can't take it over.
So by that drone having that frequency blocker, it'll block one of these weapons as well.
Yeah. In
To
other
bring it.
words, look, even if they were transmitting,
Uh-huh.
we couldn't take it over. But
Okay.
the
Okay.
last thing this guy said, which I've been suspecting all along,
Mhm.
we can't hear them transmit. We can't hear them, anything transmitting to them. So they're operating strictly by artificial intelligence.
Yeah, right. You had said that. Yeah, this is one big confusing package right here. It really is, and I'm sure our officials are trying to unravel it. It's probably a lot to process right now for everybody. I'm assuming.
You
This is
can you
good
imagine?
job.
But are you out every night looking?
I am. I am. I've
Yeah.
gotten to the point now where if I hear the sound like that lawnmower, I'm outside. And
Yeah.
so far, it's just been, planes, Cessnas, and helicopters. I really want that thing to fly over in the daytime. And my good buddy Mark D'Antonio made a great point to me the other day. He said, I had told him about, John Ferguson, what he was saying. And he said, well, you know what? How come these things aren't flying around in the day? How come nobody's filming, in the day?
Right.
And I said, that's a great point, and I don't have a response for you. Do you have any idea why they would only be operating at night?
The first thing I thought was what everybody else was guessing. We don't have enough fixed wing assets with enough sensors to find radioactive materials in a bomb. So they're putting up everything they can with those sensors on it. And the gamma ray detectors that they could put on those drones will not work during the day. They have to be at night, so the sun and its reflections, etc., won't swamp the detector. And they need to be close to the ground, so they're low, flying at night. And then that got poo-pooed. And it's just
No, they do have to be flying low to the ground in order for the sniffer to work on the drone. So if it's actually sniffing out radioactive or biological material, whatever it's looking for that was stolen, it would have to be in that 400-foot shelf and under to detect that. That is true. But it's the only thing that makes sense. The only thing I could think of is maybe they charge them up in the day and they put them out at night. I don't know, because drones are pretty much useless at night. It's not like they could see very well in the night.
To keep something up for 7 hours, dude, there's not a battery.
Yeah.
There's just not a battery. And gasoline and battery, the thing would be too heavy. I'm telling you, I don't know what's powering these things.
Yeah.
And Mike from New Jersey, I've had my Kraken SDRs, both the original version and the new one where you can do passive radar for years. And I don't think the things are returning signals because our military has passive radars and they can't track the things.
Our military has everything. Let's just face it. Every new toy you can think of, and then the ones we haven't heard of yet. They're 20, 30 years out in advance of the things we've seen already. So it's just mind-boggling how Arrow can track unidentified flying objects, right? And we can have bases in Antarctica with neutrino detectors firing into space that can actually track these unidentified UAPs, but we can't get a couple drones to find out where they're popping up from, where they're taking up from.
Oops.
What
Come
happened?
back. Come back.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, your video froze.
Oh,
Oh, there you are. You're
I'll
back.
tell you what happened. We have a new puppy, and she constantly wants to go outside, this dog. And my TV plug is plugged in next to the front door, the to let her out on the front deck.
Yeah.
She knows to bite the wire, to pull the plug out, to shut the TV off if we're watching TV, to make her go out. That's how smart this dog is. And she does it
We
100
have one just that smart. Oh my goodness, she's a
every
piece of
time
work.
she touches that wire, I glitch. So I bet you that's what's happened, because I hear it yelling at the dog.
It's normal.
Sorry about that.
see?
Sorry about that.
It's fine.
All right, ask your paranormal question.
Well, real quick, another part of me thinks perhaps this is just, because they're slowly letting the public know more and more about aliens and UFOs, right? What if
Yeah.
this is just something to see how they know something's coming in a couple years, maybe, right? And this is just see how we react. It could be a test. It's like there's little things my mind's changing,
I'm glad you bring it up, because Robert and I brought it up with each other. Could this be a psyop? Could this be the psyop that Dr. Greer has been talking about for the past 30 years, right? And
is that what
Pardon?
they call it? Project Bluebeam?
Project Bluebeam, that's when they project a false alien invasion with like 3D holographic technology. That's Bluebeam. The psyop would be something like they're doing now. They set these drones up to do exactly what you said. Test the civilian population to see how they're going to react to something like this.
Right.
Whereas if they did an actual false flag alien invasion, what kind of hysteria would that cause? So we see the hysteria that's being caused with the drones, right? Just imagine if Project Bluebeam was an actuality and it activated, and they had the technology to holographically put gigantic motherships in the sky to really scare people into believing they're here. What would happen? It would be pandemonium.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? It'd be War of the Worlds to the cube.
Right.
Forget it. I mean, I went to New Jersey to my parents. Everybody is outside with a camera at night. You drive down in Marlboro and Morganville and Freehold, everybody's outside with a camera. Everybody. They're just hanging out outside with cameras looking at the sky. People are doing nightly sky watches live. I love it. I think it's great because it brought a lot more attention to the skies. And I think because of this, we're going to get a lot more dynamite UFO and UAP footage. I really do.
If I was a non-human intelligence and I were about to come here and announce myself to the world, I'd spend a month driving everybody into the yard every night, and then I would arrive.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, a lot of people make good points when we see these UAPs. And there's one question that I've always wanted to answer. Why do they have the lights on when they come? If you wanted to be undetected to just check things out, why would you have lights on? I think they have lights on because they want us to see them. They want us to know they're here and they're part of our conscious being and we're all one with each other. I think they want to get our vibration down to a certain point where we can all become one with each other. That's honestly how I feel. I mean, that's just my intuition on things, the feeling I get when I see a genuine craft in the sky. I feel like it's a peaceful connection. I never have a feeling of dread or I'm going to be hurt or anything. Yeah, the hair stands up on the back of my neck because the thing is gigantic in the sky, right? But aside from that, I have no fear. I'm not afraid of it. I almost welcome it to come,
Right.
So.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Because I feel as though they can't just come out and help us, so they have to go, baby step around to get us on the frequency so they can, help us more. I think whatever's here we're in a jail cell, I guess, here on Earth where, it's our food or everything is kind of against us. So I think they're helping us little by little.
Right. But, look what if I was an alien coming into Earth, right? And I took a really good look at us, I would say, look at these people. They kill each other. They hurt each other. They poison their own air and food supplies. They starve their people. You know, they burn their people out. They make the cost of living too expensive for anybody to survive. Who would want to do that? Who would want to be in that kind of situation? And you're right, Lala. Slowly, they are trying to raise our vibration so we all realize these things, because not everybody realizes things to the depths that the three of us do, right? And the few that do are few and far between. So once we all get on the same wavelength, I think the world will be a better place. I really do. I hope so. Anyway.
Boy, do I ever. But first off, we've got to stop all the wars and the burgeoning wars, the wars that are about to happen that everybody can see coming. We need to stop doing this.
We do. I mean, I understand how the government looks at things. War generates billions of dollars. The stock market rises. They make money. But who suffers? Everybody else. Our kids get sent out to fight these wars. They don't come home. Families, parents suffer from the loss of a child or a loved one. They go crazy. They don't want to take care of themselves. No, there's a big chain fall to what war does to people and families. It tears them apart, right? And our homeless vets, right? We're out there sending billions of dollars to other countries.
Right.
We have our own problems right here that need taken care of that can use $1 billion a month to help those situations, right? If we dumped $1 billion a month into our own economy to help the homeless, to help UAP studies and drones and homeless vets and drug addicts and all that, the world would just be a beautiful place to be. But they don't care about that because all the other sub programs that they put out generate money for all their friends, like rehabs and halfway houses and all that nonsense, right? So one big cluster,
Well, I agree. I do. Everybody I know who was, served their time overseas, and they get hurt or it's mental health issues, they all say they can't get help. They can't get the help they need, I should say.
Yeah.
And that's sad. It's disgusting. My son was talking about going to the army. I said, don't you dare. I said, do whatever you want, but don't, because they care about you going in. They don't care about you coming out. That's just my opinion.
No, you're right. You're a number. I mean, God bless all our troops. I love each and every one of them. I have a cousin that's a lieutenant. She's active right now in the Navy. God bless her. They're doing good things. I love our service members. I just don't want to see them get hurt or put in harm's way to benefit something else that's not going to help or benefit us or them. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so don't you want to ask him about paranormal stuff?
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about paranormal.
Far away.
Okay, let's see. Well, what have you come across going through these abandoned places? Have you ever felt, and also, do you get visited by like a similar spirit wherever you go? It's echoing.
So
it's on his end.
What? I glitched again?
No, it's echo.
I have an echo. Let's see.
No, you're echoing.
How about now?
Hello, 1, 2. Nope. Oh no, I can hear it. I'll just mute us when I'm not talking.
I had echo cancellation on. Maybe that did it. I don't know. So I do go to these abandoned urban explorations, and I did Staten Island so far, which was a lot of fun, and the Urbex Center, which used to be a disease center back in like the 1800s, right? And then they turned it into a farm ground and then a homeless shelter, and they helped kids that had all these different diseases there as well, tuberculosis primarily. And when I went into this place, first of all, it's like going back into a time capsule, right? Because it's destroyed and dilapidated, and all the equipment is there from like the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And just walking through the place, every time I would get 15, 20 feet through, I would feel like somebody was behind me, and I would stop and look, and then I would walk a little more, talking video, and it literally felt like shuffling feet behind me. And when I went that time, it was just to like do a walkthrough and show everybody how cool this place is. And then I got to the sub basement where the tunnels were. And when I tell you, when I shut the light, and I was there all by myself, when I shut the lights off and I couldn't see my hand in front of my face, that was really scary. So now I'm walking with all the lights off, and I walk into this room and I put the light on, and there's an operating bed there and all the old equipment surrounding it. And it looked like an operation had happened. They left all the tools and equipment there, and it stood there for 40, 50 years. It's on video. I have it. Amazing. And I would hear like children whispering and laughing and talking. And as I'm walking through, I keep asking everybody, do you hear that? Do you hear what I'm hearing? And I'm telling them, and then people that watch that video timestamp things. And I went back and yeah, you hear kids laughing and you hear the shuffling and you hear all that stuff. Now, I think I came home with an attachment from there because 5 nights after that, I'm downstairs with the dog. I put this video on TikTok. It did like 30,000 views. The dog goes into the kitchen. Now, the dog's here 8 months. She knows every square inch of this house. Goes into the kitchen, will not walk into the kitchen. She's at the doorway, barking non-stop at the wall in the kitchen. Barking, barking, barking. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's alerting me that someone's there. So I go in the kitchen, I get the camera, I film 360 degrees, put the light on, show everybody there's nothing there. And then the dog, all the hair stands up on the back of her neck, and she just flips out. And it must have been something advanced towards the dog, because she backed up and ran away. Now, I didn't see anything, but she seen something. And everybody that commented said that dog definitely 100% seen a ghost in your house. 100%. And another time you seen the video, the dog's playing with the toys, and the toy just rolls across my floor all by itself. So these things happen. I think we come home with attachments. But I bought a whole thing of sage, so now I'm constantly saging the house, and I got rosary beads hanging everywhere. I mean, everywhere, everywhere. As a matter of fact, St. Vincent's Hospital in Manhattan, when we did the demolition, that building was built in like the 1600s, right? I found a, what do they call them, a time capsule in one of the walls.
Wow.
And Pope Benedict, I want to say it was Pope Benedict, he actually left his rosary beads and a silver medallion and a whole bunch of mass prayer things, and there was letters in there. And I kept the rosary beads that he put in here. I'll show you real quick. They're gigantic.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
His phone picking up his size.
Oh my god.
So these are very old.
Oh, that's a beautiful cross.
I would love to read that.
And on the bottom, on the bottom it has the skull and bones.
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah. And these are the rosary beads, I believe, that the Jesuits used to wear wrapped around their waist, and they would hang really low. That's this kind. So beautiful. So I got those down here. And I got rosary beads and crucifixes blessed everywhere, because I know these things come home with us. 100%. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I love it.
So, I mean, our dog is half beagle, half blue tick hound.
Okay.
So she points and growls, and ooh, she gets upset, and we know she's barking and talking at something, and but she will not get up until it's resolved. She's just amazing.
Really?
Yeah, we have a very, very paranormal active dog.
Well, they're in tune. The animals are in tune. They know what's going on. They definitely see more than we see, without a doubt. They have a different sensory perspective than we do. 100%, I believe that.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
They're our protectors. Oh, I had I found out I had something follow me around for quite a while, a couple years I didn't know, and recently I found out. And my friend Mercedes Benedict,
Love her.
She's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, there she is. Oh my god, I didn't even know. She did something for me, and we're on the phone, I'm in the bedroom, and as she's talking me through this and healing stuff, only my light starts to flicker, which it never, ever has ever. We've been here 3 years, never done that. And then my puppy dog, who never growls, started growling at the chair. And I go, oh shit, it's here. Like it was getting angry and upset that she was trying to heal me from this or help me in the situation.
Yeah.
And I recently, like 2 weeks ago, my friend does facials at a spa, so I went to go get a facial from her, and I'm laying down, I start talking about it, the lights start flickering in the room. She's like, that's never happened before. So whenever I bring this thing up and talk about certain things about it, it notices. So that's, but anyway, the point is, our dog never ever is aggressive, and this thing, so whatever this was made her aggressive, and that's freaky to me.
You sure Bob's not in the other room playing with the clapper, trying to scare you?
No, I wouldn't bust her ass. No, I would never do that.
Lala, you sit in the room with the lights out with the night vision, and you film the orbs coming right into your hand. Like, people don't understand that dust has a very specific flow to it. It all flows in one direction, like snow, right? And these things don't. You can't get a dust particle to come fly into your hand like an orb. You just can't do that. I'm sorry, you can't. If you can't, prove it, because I need to see it, because that just doesn't happen. The things you guys are filming are bona fide things that are really happening in real time. I don't care who says what. I mean, I've watched both your work, and that's how we became friends. And Bob, you and I were at the UFO convention together. We talked for hours, man. I mean, I agree with everything Bob says, and we both have a mutual friend, Chris Bledsoe, that's like the UFO guru right now. You know what I mean? He really knows what's going on. How do you put claims? How can you try to say that what's going on in that man's house and on his property is not real? I mean, it's come on, all his kids and family and friends go there. Everybody's witnessing it. You can't do these things on command unless they're really happening in real time. I mean, come on.
The government wouldn't show up if it weren't real. They're not going to
Right.
Every time he doesn't have a ton of visitors, the government shows up in droves. And they're out there filming, videoing, using instruments. Of course, they don't share any of that with him.
Of course
they
not.
don't want him put it on video.
Of course not. But it does happen. It does happen. These things happen, man. I'm telling you. Ever since I gave up my location on the beach where I film, there's more people there now with cameras filming at night at that actual location. Matter of fact, I put in a request to the Parks Department for the city to put a sign up where I had that UFO sighting. I commissioned. Oh, my thing's doing all the pop-ups again. I had commissioned the sighting artwork and me on there and the time, date for the sighting of a Fort Earl Naval Weapons Day, and I'm trying to get it approved to put a street sign on the dead end at the beach that's where that sighting happened. That would be cool. I think it would draw more people to there, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully they approve it.
So we have a bunch of your friends and a few that haven't been here before. So when I went to visit Chris, we had a bunch of experiences, orbs, other things. He told me most all of his secrets, but when I left, the things followed me home.
Yeah,
and
so
after they followed me home, I had a bunch of experiences, some of them cuckoo. And shortly thereafter, the person I went with had a stroke. They were okay. They could get around, but they had a limp and a right side weakness. After they visited for a bit and did some things, the right side weakness on that person completely disappeared. That's number one. And then at the end of that semester, I retired because school was going to be closed for over a year for COVID. So I decided to go to a cardiovascular surgeon, having had 3 heart attacks, to see if I was okay. Could I go safely before I found a cardiovascular surgeon, or did I need to wait to find one before I moved?
Right.
So I went and had tests, and he kept running tests. He kept running tests. Got me on a treadmill, filled me full of dye, did the deal where I was like puffing and puffing. And he was just meeting in my office. I went back to his office. He says, okay, what have you been doing? What are you talking about? So, I feel great. He says, you should feel great. He says, because I just measured the output of your heart and the heartbeat, etc. You have 100% function, no visible damage, and
That's
the heart
amazing.
of a 30-year-old.
That's amazing.
So
That's
both of us
amazing.
who went there had a miraculous healing.
How do you explain that? Two people, same place, within different, I don't know how far apart from each other, but still, you both went to the same place, both had problems when you went, came back and were healed. Now that's a miraculous recovery, if I say so.
It was amazing. It was just
You know?
amazing. So I pretty much stopped being a scientist because I wanted to be a witness and his friend. And
Yeah.
Anything of him.
Right.
When he needed me, I would help him. And like right now, I'm helping him get his amateur radio license.
Cool.
So I don't really talk about all of our interactions because I don't feel I should share all that because it's private.
Right. Some things are meant to stay between
he has somebody he can talk to that he knows it isn't going to go everywhere.
Right.
So it's a good thing. But it's just So I went down to see him at the River Fest in
Okay.
Wilmington, North Carolina. And we had 2 nights out on the Wilmington, North Carolina beach, which is on
Yeah.
the Atlantic Ocean. The first night we had about 10 orbs, none of them explainable. The second night, 250 people came, and a problem that was there the night before didn't show up.
Okay.
And the person didn't show up. So anyway,
Okay.
so it was very calm. They did their thing, and all of a sudden, for one and a little over an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, we had 100 things fly over. And the last one was these 2 gigantic orbs that had wings that did
Nice. Now, what do you think about that? That it had wings like that?
He said it was an angel, and what I knew is it looked like it had wings.
That's pretty cool, man. I would love to see something like that, angelic. You know, I had a near-death experience.
A bunch of people got video. I didn't even bother. What I did was I had my phone out because I'm tired of people criticizing him.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sitting there making sure everything we see is not a satellite, is not an airplane, is not an astronomical thing. And so one thing the entire night was a mistake, and he thought Jupiter was an orb.
Okay.
Everything else was.
But that happens.
None of it.
It happens. Sometimes things get misidentified. But more to your point about
Jim, how you doing?
more to your
Jim
point
was
about
there.
more to your point about, you know, angels. You know, I believe without a shadow of doubt they're real. I grew up Catholic. I've told many people I almost became a priest. I got accepted to St. Anthony's Seminary School before I went to the police department. But in '99, I had a motorcycle accident and I died on the scene. I got hit head on by a rider moving truck, and I flatlined on that scene. And when I flatlined, I crossed over, and I had this whole experience where I had met a relative that I didn't know was my relative at the time. And, you know, he's telling me, you had an accident, you're going to be fine, but it's time for you to go home. You ready to go home? And he kept asking me if I'm ready to go home. And he put his hand through my chest, like where my heart was. And I woke up in the ambulance. And it was like weeks later, maybe months later, when I could talk and walk and all of that stuff again, that, you know, I was telling my mom the story, and I was telling her what this guy looked like. And it was, you know, so amazing. And it felt like I knew him. And we're just going through old family photos, and she pulls out this picture that I keep on the desk now. My godfather died in a tow truck accident when I was 9 months old. And that was the man that I seen when I crossed over.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
So nobody's going to tell me that heaven's not real and angels aren't real and guardian angels, because I witnessed it. And, you know, you hear doctors say that your brain was shutting down and you're going through all these different stages. There's no way I remembered him from 9 months old. I'm sorry. Nobody talked about him. I had no clue. So that happened. That's a real thing. And angels are real. Heaven's real. You just got to believe. You know, you just have to have faith, I think.
Oh yeah.
So we've had some weird stuff happen here. First, we moved in here. We hadn't had anything happen, but we started hearing thumps, things getting unplugged, moved, whatever. So I put up a security camera to see if I could catch any of it.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the night, while we were all asleep, you could hear something walking. The light switch in the hall flips on. The camera goes from night mode to day mode. Something almost transparent walks in front of the camera. And as it passes the camera picks up perfect voice like me.
EVP. Yeah, EVP.
You could hear the vocal port. You could hear the vocal cords. And it said, "Hello, Xander."
Hello, Xander.
Our Xander is our son. It was Dave, my
Oh.
best friend. He passed, and that was the first time he was ever that strong. Usually he would just knock on the walls and stuff after he passed 3 years ago from leukemia.
I'm very sorry to hear that. I didn't know.
Thank you. But we have a 15-year-old, and he came to say hi, and it was nice because
It's beautiful.
he liked to play around and pretend he was a radio talk show host. So he'd have the
Hello.
And that's-
Oh, Xander. Yeah, there you go.
it was
That's very cool. That is very cool.
So that we have that evidence. It's on Facebook. People can go hear it, and at the end of the video, they can hear fully voiced, "Hello, Xander."
I
See.
have a question real quick. When
Yeah.
you passed and then you came back, was anything kind of off? A lot of people that pass away and come back, they feel like life is just a little different and they can't put their finger on it. Did that happen to you?
Um, Here's what happened to me when I came back. Before that, I felt like I was that little Italian meatball tough guy from the neighborhood.
Uh,
And after that happened, I became very empathic. Like if
oh,
I'm next to somebody, I could kind of feel how they feel or what they're feeling, even if they're not saying it. You know, I could tell if you're down or upset, like just being next to you. So I've picked that up since this happened to me. And the weird thing about that was a couple people, like one kid I found drowning in a pool after this, and I revived him with CPR. When I was
wow.
working as a cop, we had a pin job. That means the car flips over and people get trapped. And my partner and I were on the scene, and I was the only one that had a window punch, and we got the mom and the two daughters out. That happened. And my aunt, Lori, choked on a piece of steak, and I was there for the Heimlich for that. And my mom had a seizure, fell down the stairs, cracked her head, and coded. And I just happened to walk in the house with me and three other cops on our meal break as that happened. Okay.
Oh
And I
my,
was able to get the ambulance. And everything. My mom was home alone.
oh my.
So all those things happened after this. So we're put here for a reason.
Mhm,
I believe things happen for a reason.
mhm,
And sometimes you're activated to really, work in the spiritual light. You may
mhm.
not know you're working in the spiritual light as a light worker, but you're that person. You know what I mean? You're kind of
You
like,
know why the entities come around you so much after you
what's
had
that?
that experience. Well, that's just not uncommon. After
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
a near-death experience, you become attractive to the non-human intelligences.
How about this? Shadow people. I see them
Oh yeah.
all the time. My wife thinks I'm nuts because I'm like, you're telling me you didn't see that right now. You're telling me you didn't see that walk by. I don't see what you're talking about. She tells me now, stop. And I see it all the time. These shadow beings all the time. And, I can only make out like the human figure in
Right,
black. It's like like a shadow of a person just in fast motion. But I
right.
see that split second either at the corner of my eye, sometimes head on. I know it's there. I see it. I know I'm not nuts. And I know other people have had those experiences as well. So
What do
that
you think
happened.
they are? Because nobody, whenever I ask, nobody really knows. But I had two experiences, and they kind of scared me both times. But I don't know, a lot of people think they're creepy and not good, but some I don't know. What do you think?
What, shadow people?
Yeah, do you
Well,
think
first,
they're good or?
listen, I've never had an evil experience from one of them. I only see them. They never moved anything. They never hurt me. I never got scratched by one of them or anything like that. They're just here. So I don't think they have any ill will. The more I think about it and the more I do ufology and talk to different experts such as yourself, I think that somehow timelines bleed into each other because Earth, sits in the upper third and a half dimension of space. So we see in 3D, but there's different what do you call them? What is it, timelines or
Timelines. Yeah.
dimensions,
Yeah.
different dimensions of space, right? Like 12, 13 dimensions of space. And I think sometimes they just bleed into each other. And sometimes you get something from that dimension, but it can't fully commit. So you see that shadow piece of it. I think that's what it is, more like dimensions bleeding into each other. But I
On
don't think there's any
on Slaptown, they always have these videos where somebody appears walking down the street, they solidify, they slowly fade out. I think
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
another one of the universes that's passing too close to us, and they bled over into us.
Well, what about stories from like really dignified people like doctors and lawyers and cops that say, they're driving to work in the morning, early in the morning. Next thing they turned down this block and it was 1950 again. And they were all confused. All the cars were from the 50s. Did you ever hear those stories? Then all
Yeah,
of a sudden they go down 2-3 miles and everything's back to normal. Now, how do
right.
you explain that? Now, if that really happens, that says to me that these dimensions and timelines bleed into each other, and that's what we get a glimpse of, you know?
Yeah, Deb Cobble, she said something interesting. She was, I guess, trying to get EVPs, and one of the ghosts said she asked a question about how they see us, and it says, "We see you how you see us, so you look like a ghost to us." It was
Ah,
interesting. So she's got that on EVP. So I thought that was amazing because you don't think about that.
For those who don't know who Deb Cobble is, she is the subject of Bud Hopkins' book Intruders.
okay, okay. Very interesting.
And she has had a full life of experiences since she was a child.
And she started doing more paranormal now, so that's what she's doing.
My very good friend Andrew Razowitz, I'm sure you guys know the psychic firefighter or have heard of him.
Yeah, I've seen it.
That dude, aside from you, Lala, that dude is in tune. Like he has sessions with people, and everybody that he does a session with, he makes sure he puts a video of that person that says how they did it, how the session went, and they're all mind blown. He was kind enough to we were good friends. He used to do the show with me, and he would do like free sessions for people, and everybody I sent to him had a phenomenal experience. Said he was spot on. And then you have people that say, these psychics, these mediums, they're all full of crap, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Because if I can have that near-death experience and come back empathic, right? Far be it for me to say that somebody can't be wired the right way to be in tune with the dead or another dimension or anything. Who the hell are you to judge somebody what they can and can't do? You're not inside them.
It took me a while to realize that if she's looking up and to the right, she's talking to them or her guardian. So right now she's doing about 3 or 4 readings a week.
Yeah.
And so we record them, but we send them to the other person because I don't know, I don't feel comfortable posting those things because they come into them, they talk to her, especially in the first one where she's bringing back and talking to people that have passed. They all break down and cry. 100% of them.
I don't remember the name of the investigative team, but there was a paranormal investigative team that was, they were investigating the dead, and they had this specific thing they would do. They would go in this room that was completely sealed off from the outside, and somehow they were able to make objects from the other side materialize into our world. Have you ever seen that?
Oh my God, no.
There's a huge documentary about this team. I'm going to send it to you because I'm so sorry, everybody. I can't remember the name. But they actually had scientists go with them to prove that this was really happening. And they would take this glass dome and put it on a table. And all of a sudden, an object would materialize in that dome. It would just be there. And it would be a picture from like the 1930s or 20s of the people that they're talking about. You have to see this documentary. It's like my hair standing up telling you about it. After I watched that, I said that was some of the best CGI either the best CGI I ever seen, or we got to see if my friends could do this that are psychic and mediums and stuff, because this is amazing. But it was mind bending.
I've never seen a person do it, but the only time that happened to me was when my mom had just passed. When she was alive, she would always give me a mustard seed necklace because that meant a lot to her and was trying to like empower me and stuff. And I hadn't had one in, I guess, maybe 20 years, and I'm at my home. She never had visited my home ever because she lived in Florida. Anyway, I'm cleaning up a cup off the counter, and I pour it out, and a mustard seed necklace comes out of the cup. It wasn't in there when I picked it up, and I knew it was her. So this is what happens,
This is more to my point that these things happen, because I'm going to freak you out right now. My godfather that I seen that I didn't know, when I moved into this house from my condo, we packed everything up, blah, 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 and then we unpacked everything. How did his truck keys get in a box? These are his truck keys. Wow. And I'm not even kidding, because it says North Shore Collision and Towing on, and that's the tow truck he died in.
Oh my God.
I have his tow truck keys. I didn't know this man. I don't remember. I was 9 months old when he died. So this was in one of our moving boxes when we moved from the condo we were in for 12 years prior. So I never seen these before. So
I believe it. I do. They can do. All of us can do magical things. I think we're taught from birth that we can't, and so we don't know. Yeah. And so,
same thing with the government calcifying our pineal gland. God only knows if we didn't fluoride the shit out of that, what it could do. Right? We could probably move things with our mind. People say, you guys are crazy," but no. The ancients believed that the pineal gland was the center to the different worlds of reality. They worshipped it. They cherished it, right?
Or third eye or whatever.
Your third eye, right? Yeah, the root to all everything paranormal.
The pineal gland is light sensitive.
Right. It is light sensitive, you said?
Yes, it's absolutely light sensitive. It has photoreceptors on it.
Yeah. And it's calcified now, unfortunately, from all the fluoride they put in the water and your toothpaste and all that stuff. But imagine you had the capability to utilize that. That would be just fascinating. I wish they would take a newborn baby and never let that baby use toothpaste that had fluoride in it or water. And when that kid was 20, see how fresh and clean that pineal gland was. They should really test a subject. Like they probably already have, you know.
So let
tested
me
a
ask you a
subject.
question because my curiosity's peak.
Go ahead.
What are you investigating on the wall behind you?
Oh, this is a crime scene. No, this is a what do you call it? This is a green screen projection back here.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, all right.
But hold on.
Just tell them about the potassium with the cycles.
Mm-hmm.
All my real investigation stuff is in the box.
Got it.
There's tons.
Well, the green screen looks great because I can't tell it's a green screen.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think it just look. I mean, honestly, this is how it would look, but except everything's on the computer these days. You don't have to pin everything around, right? But Robert and I we're getting ready to. We're talking about putting this documentary together called Beyond the Horizon. I think we're going to call it, and we're going to discuss about triangulating UFOs between New York and New Jersey. Because a couple of times now I've had an object over Staten Island. I contacted Robert in New Jersey, which is not very far from me, and we were able to see the same exact object, film it, and document it. Now we added our friend Mike to the mix, so the three of us are able to triangulate. So we're trying to all three of us catch the same thing in different places and triangulate it. So we're going to try to do that. So that's the big project right now. So hopefully that all comes to fruition.
Oh, that's terrific. What new toys do you have?
So, when I had quit a year or so ago, I had sold everything. So now I bought 2 new Psionics cameras. I just got the new black. Psionics Aurora Black just came, and I got the Aurora Pro on the way. I have a Sony A7 low light camera on the way. I have the FLIR camera, a bunch of detection units, the REM pod, stuff of that nature. And then I was just asking you the other day about getting something to detect the UFOs. Maybe you could put me in the right detection for something like that. This way we can add more stuff.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna send you Ron Ox stuff because he has these automated cameras and a bunch of other sensors, and it runs on artificial intelligence. And he's been on Skinwalker Ranch, both shows. He was on the UFO show, Tearing the Sky. Really worked great, and it's affordable if you have a reasonable budget. And I asked you your budget, you can afford it.
Absolutely. I'm not looking to spend 50 grand, but anything under 10 I could do.
No, I got to tell you what, right now I'm working on an app for the phone that will both record video and at the same time tell you if there's an airplane in the sky, tell you if there's a satellite in the sky, tell you what astronomical objects are in the sky, and then log the video and tell you on the screen where those things are so you won't mistake them.
That's dynamite, because right now, again, I'm using the Flight Tracker 24. I use the Heavens Gate. I use, and what's the other one, Robert? And I use the Satellite Tracker app we use. And you have to have all of those because you can misidentify an object in the sky very easy if it's at very high altitude. It can happen.
I'm going to integrate all of those into one app.
Yeah, and that would be dynamite if that can happen, because it's a pain in the butt going back and forth nonstop. Trying to switch between these things. And there's another device out there now. I'm trying to look for the name because I just wrote it down and I know I got it here somewhere. But there's a new UFO detection device out that actually hooks up to your computer. And I just can't find the where I had wrote it down now. But I'll find it and text it to you. There's this new device. It's small. It's about the size of a cell phone. And you hook it up to your computer and it's supposed to help you track things that are out there, being tracked already. And it gives you that real-time data. So I'm gonna incorporate that too. I'm spending about 20 grand on equipment right now.
Good.
And that other psionics, the dome that goes on the ships. I'm gonna get that as well.
That has the same high-end sensor that the Opsin has.
Right, and it's 360. You can spin it 360 degrees. That camera, you have control capability with that, so it can be stationary, and I can control it from a joystick, which is great.
Mm-hmm. I know we have to go soon, but I want to ask a question real quick.
Sure.
Well, first I want to say we had a guest on last night, and he talked about how his psychic friend, she would get really sick after readings or whatever, and she went to the doctor. The doctor believes in all this. she gets low on potassium whenever she does readings. I get sick a lot of time or headaches and stuff after readings. I'm low on potassium. So now I'm asking everybody who's psychic or anything if they don't feel good, get checked out because that could be the thing. Some type of energy takes the potassium from us. So that's kind of, I wonder if abductees have that too.
I'm definitely going to check the potassium. I don't know about that, but I know I am anemic. I just found out I was anemic because I recently lost over 50 pounds. So like everything changed for me, you know, the way I eat, the way I function, and I found that I was anemic. So now I have to eat like more red meat, but instead I take these iron pills. Like I take them 3 times a day. Otherwise I feel really weak and drained and I don't want to move. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to find a clear night near a new moon, and let's go do some observing over on Staten Island.
You have an open invitation to my home anytime you want to come. Both of you, you know that. Anytime. I'd love to have you. Anytime. Anytime.
Real quick, look up copper supplements as well. Just look it up and see.
Copper?
Copper supplements. Talk to your doctor about it. That helps a lot, especially with men. Anyway, my last question is, a lot of people are, everybody's been talking about the UFOs coming out of the ocean. Now people are starting to wonder if the ocean is really outer space because nobody really knows where the bottom is. Maybe it's a portal. Anyway, what do you feel about it?
Well, unidentified flying objects definitely do come out of the ocean. I filmed them frequently. Come out and come to and then dematerialize, like right before they hit the water. And then I did the USOs Transmedium Fast Movers documentary with Darcy, and that was all about UFOs on the water. We filmed that right here on Staten Island by my house, and it does happen. And you should look up Tim Gallaudet. He was the Rear Admiral for the U.S. Navy, and he was in charge of NOAA, the National Oceanic Association, and he has documents that our submarines have chased these fast movers at incredible rates of speed that just we cannot keep up with. And both of our friends, we're both friends with Mark D'Antonio. He was actually on a submarine doing a book, and a fast mover had intercepted that submarine when they went to chase it, when they were bringing it back to port.
Wow.
So these things definitely do 100% happen. As far as could the ocean, the bottom be bottomless and be part of space, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Earth is round, right? We're pretty much surrounded by water. It wouldn't be too far off of a theory to think you can get in and out of space going through the bottomless end of the ocean. That's fascinating. I don't have an answer for that. I like where you're going with it, and I'm going to look into that now because you got it on my mind. But that's fascinating. I could see something like that definitely being plausible, 100%.
That's great. So my point about Madar. I'm Madar site 350 here in Maryland. So it detects when something weird happens in your sky magnetically.
That sounds like the device. Is it the size of a cell phone, Madar? Because that's
smaller.
Yeah. That's that. I think that's the new thing that Chris Jordan just told me to get. Madar. That sounds like it's on the money. I think that's it.
Yep, it's affordable. You can afford it.
It hooks up to a you got to hook it up to a what do you call it line? A fiber optic line or whatever.
No. You plug it into your Ethernet port.
Ethernet. That's it. Not fiber. Ethernet.
Yeah, you have to have an Ethernet, not wireless.
That's it.
I'm also installing Jim Segala's device. Jim Segala was one of the scientists on the first season of Skinwalker Ranch, and he worked for and still works for Hal Puthoff. And we are interviewing Jim in January. 22nd January, Jim is on with us.
Who told us that it was Madar? Because I've been racking my brain trying to think of. That's it. That's the Madar right there.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was talking about. The device.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, we have it right over here on the table. All right. So look, Anthony, bro, you're my brother. I'm so glad you came on.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate
you,
that, man.
And I was getting ready to kick your butt for not being in this, and I'm so glad you're back.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I just want to say to everybody out there, thank you so much for coming back and watching my work and hanging out. It really means the world to me. You know what I mean? So thank you. And I saw Brown Dwarf in there. Brown Dwarf was a good friend. He's a great guy and a great investigator. It's good to see you. I haven't talked to you in a long time. I hope everything's well. Happy holidays and happy holidays.
Go check out Epic TV with Anthony. Everybody, thank you for coming. It was great. And I look forward to seeing all of you next week. All right. Good night.
Thank you.